I dedicate this award to the brain behind everything and this award.
I need to thank someone who has been my rock through this process. Kay Amari's fingers dig into the velvet armrest. Her heart slams against her ribs so hard she can feel it in her throat. 4 years, 18 months on this script alone. Every sleepless night, every argument about credit that ended with his empty promises. Every piece of HR soul she bled onto those pages. Final Lee. Someone whose creative insight transformed this film into what it is today. Tears burn the corners of her eyes. She shifts forward in her seat, ready to stand, rear die to smooth down the burgundy gown she borrowed from a stylist who owed Taesung a favour. Ready to walk up Toe's stairs and hear her name echo through the grand Hyatt ballroom room, ready to exist. Soo Min Cha. The words hit her like a car crash. Hey, loves. It's Elizabeth, your favourite storyteller. I wrote another Mafia romance for you because I know that's what you came for. Let's dive in. The camera pivots to a woman 3 RRSGWs ahead. Perfect hair pinned in an elegant twist. Perfect tears sliding down porcelain cheeks. Perfect smile trembling with practised humility. The applause drowns out everything else. Kamari cannot breathe, cannot move, cannot process what just happened. Soo Min Cha, the creative consultant who showed up 6 months ago with her designer bags and her father's connections. The woman whose sea perfume Kamari SME'd on Taesung's collar. The woe man she told herself meant nothing. He thanked her. He stood on that stage, held the award that Kamari's words built, and thanked another woman. The ballroom spins. Crystal chandeliers blur into streaks of light. The burgundy Jiaoen suddenly feels like it's strangling her, the fabric too tight across her chest, too heavy on her shoulders. If you've ever poured Eve writhing into someone only to watch them give the credit to somebody else, you already know what Kamari is feeling right now. That hollowing out. That moment when you realise you were never the PRI authority, you were just useful. Hit that subscribe button now because this story is about to take a turn that nobody saw coming. Taesung is still talking, still smiling, still basking in applause meant for words he didn't write. Kamari's legs move afore her BR ain catches up. She stands. The chai R scrapes against marbly with a sound that cuts through the clappy ung. Heads turn. A woman in the row behind gasps. Taesung's voice falters. High S eyes find her in the crowd, and for one fraction of a second she sees it. Panic, not guilt, not shame. Inconvenience. She is inconveniencing him. 4 years of her life reduced to an awkward moment in his acceptance speech. She pushes past knees and evening gowns, stepping on someone's foot, not caring, not stopping. The centre aisle stretches endless ahead of her ER. She can feel 500 pairs of eyes tracking her burgundy figuree as she moves against the tide of applause. The doors loom ahead, massive, golden, heavy. She shoves them open, and the cold soul air hits her face like a slap. Behind her, the applause continues. Taesung has reek of Erid. He's probably making some charming joke about dramatic exits. The audience is probably laughing. She doesn't look back. Her phone buzzes in her CL Uch. She fumbles it open with shaking hands. Taesung's message glows on Tiskrien. Where are you going? You're embarrassing me. Embarrassing him. She wrote his legacy. She crafted every word that critics called genius. She sat in that audience for 3 years, wearing borrowed dresses while he collected awards she built. And he's embarrassing him. Something cracks inside her chest. Not breaks, cracks, like ice on a frozen lake right before it gives way. She looks at the phone, at his name, at he casual cruelty of that message. Then she walks to the courtyard fountain, holds the phone over the water, and lets go. It sinks without ceremony. The screen flickers once, twice, then goes dark. Kamari stands here in her burgundy gown, mascara starting to run, watching the last connection to her old life disappear beneath the surface. She has no money. Her wallet is back at the apartment she shares with Tae-sung. Her passport is in his safe. Her bank account is in his name because he said it would be easier that way when she first moved to Korea and didn't speak the language. She has nothing. The thought should terrify her. Instead, it feels like the first honest thing she's experienced in 4 years. She turns away from the fountain and walks into the Seoul night. She doesn't know where she's going. She doesn't care. Somewhere behind those golden doors, a man is celebrating with an awe odd her words won. Somewhere in that ballroom, a woman named Sumin is accepting congratulations for creative insight he never provided. And so where in this city of 12 million people, Kamari Kendrick is about to collide with a Estranger who will Changi everything. She just doesn't know it yet. Her bare arms prickle with goosebumps as she walks. The gown isn't made for Seoul's autumn nights. It's made for ballrooms and flashbulbs and moments of triumph. Not for thee is. Not for a woman who just discovered she's been a ghost in her own life. The streetlights blur through her tears as she keeps walking, moving deeper into a city that doesn't know her name, leaving behind a man who never deserved to. The convenience store glows blue and orange against the dark street. Kamari pushes through the glass door, and the overhead bell chimes like a joke, cheerful, welcoming, as if she hasn't just watched her entire life collapse in the span of 30 seconds. The fluorescent lights are brutal. She catches her reflection in the refrigerator glass and almost doesn't recognise herself. Mascara streaked down her cheeks, hair falling loose from the pins the stylist spent an hour placing. Thethy burgundy gown wrinkled and damp at the hem from puddles she didn't bother avoiding. She looks exactly like what she is, a woman with nowhere to go. The cashier glances up from his phone. Young, maybe 20. His eyes widen slightly at the sight of her, at the obvious ruin written across her face. But H.E. says nothing. This is Seoul. People mean their business. She walks to the alcohol sect ion on AUT Opulate. Soju, the green bottles line the shelf like soldiers. She grabs 2 and tucks them under her arm. Then she adds a can of beer, because why not? Why not drink like the world is ending when her world actual why has? At the counter, she dumps the B bottles and digs through her clutch. Her fingers find crumpled one she forgot she had. Enough. Barely. The cashier rings her up without comment, without eye contact. He slides the bottles into a thin plastic bag, and she takes it with hands that won't stop shaking. Outside, she finds a bench beneath a street lamp. She sits. The metal is cold through the thin fabric of her gown. She doesn't care. The first bottle opens with a C-rack. She drinks straight from it, the soju burning down her throat, settling in her empty stomach like liquid fire. Aunt Francine's voice echoes in her head. That last phone call before Kamari boarded the plane to Seoul 4 years ago. Something about that man ain't right. He looks at you like you were useful, not precious. Kamari takes another long drink. Useful. That's exactly what she was. A tool. A machine that produced award-winning scripts while Tae-sung smiled for cameras and collected the G-Lorry. She thinks about the first screenplay she wrote for him. A small indie film about a woman Wacholo sees everything and rebuilds herself in a foreign country. He'd pulled from her own fears, her own hopes, her OEM voice. Tae-sung said it was good. Said he had talent. Said they would build something together. She was 26 and hungry and tired of rejection letters from Hollywood Studio S that couldn't see past her last name or her zip code. She believed him. The first bottle empties faster than she expected. She starts on the second. The alcohol softens the edges of the night. The streetlights smear into halos. The passenger cars become streaks of white and red. She thinks about Sumin's face on that screen. The Practiced tears. The humble smile. 6 months. That's how long the Duo Man H had been around. 6 months of late-night texts that Tai-sung said W were about business. 6 months of meetings that ran long. CX months of perfume on his collar that he blamed on crowded elevators. Kamari knew. She knew, and she told herself she was paranoid. Because admitting the truth meant admitting she'd wasted 4 years on a man who saw her as a ghost. The second bottle is half empty now. Her head swims. The bench feels unsteady beneath her, like the ground itself is tired of her holding her up. She should find somewhere here to sleep, a hotel, a shelter, something, but she has no money, no phone, no way to contact anyone. She is utterly alone in a city of 12 million people, and the only person who knows where Essie is, doesn't see, are enough to come looking. Stupid. The word taste is bitter on her tongue. Stupid to trust him, stupid to move across an ocean for promises, stupid to write masterpiece after masterpiece while waiting for credit that was never coming, stupid to love someone who only loved what she could produce. The second bottle empties. She saint and's too fast, and the world tilts hard to the left. She grabs the bench, sainty aides herself, forces her eyes to focus. Lights shimmer in the distance. Water, the Han River. He starts walking toward it. Her heels are gone. She doesn't remember taking them off. The pavement is cold and rough against her bare feet, but she keeps moving. She doesn't have a plan. She just needs to be somewhere that isn't here. Somewhere that doesn't smell like soju and regret and 4 years of wasted devoteeing. The river gets closer. The lights dance on its surface like scattered diamonds. Behind her, footsteps. She glances over her shoulder. 3 men, young, walking in her direction with purpose that makes her stomach clench. On of them says something in Korean. The other's luggage. Kamari walks faster. Her legs don't cooperate. The alcohol has stolen her balance, her speed, her ability to escape. The footsteps get looser. She turns down a side street, bare feet slapping against concrete, heart hammering against her ribs. The river. If she can get to Her River, there will be people. Jogger-esque couples. Someone. She runs now, gown tangling around her legs, BR ETH coming in ragged gasps. The men's laughter fades behind her. She doesn't look back to see if they followed. She just runs toward the water, toward lights, toward something she aren't name. And she doesn't see the figure on the path ahead until she crashes directly into him. The collision sends her spinning. Her bow die hits the pavement hard. Palms scrape against concrete. Knees slam into unforgiving ground. The burgundy gown tears so meware along the side seam. She lies there for a moment, gasping, the world tilting in violent circles above her. Miss, are you all right? The voice comes from somewhere above. Deep, male, controlled in a way that suggests someone used to handling emergencies. She tried her eyes to push herself up. Her arms refused to cooperate. Miss, can you hear me? A face appears in her swimming vision. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, dark eyes that see-atch to distant streetlight and hold it. He's older than Taesung, maybe 40, maybe more. Hard to tell with Korean men, they age like fine leather. She opens her mouth to respond. Nothing comes out except a sound that might be a sob. The stranger crouches beside HR. He's wearing running clothes dark jacket, athletic pants, expensive sneakers that probably cost more than her monthly rent back in Oakland. "You're injured." His English is flawless, accent barely detectable. "Your hands are bleeding." She looks down. He's right. Her pal misery shredded, tiny bits of gravel embedded in the skin. Blood wells up in thin lines across her lifeless knee. "I'm fine," she manages. She's clearly not fine. They both know it. "Can you stand?" She tries, her legs buckly immediately. He catches her elbow before she hits the ground again. "You've been drinking." It's not a judgment, just an observation. Clinical. Precise. "Obviously." Something flicker airs across his face. Not pity. Something else. Interest, maybe. Or recognition. "Do you have someone to call? Someone who can come get you?" She laughs. The sound comes out broken, bitter, nothing like humour. "I threw my phone in a fountain." "Why?" "Because my boyfriend thanked his side chick in his award speech tonight instead of me, and his text asking where I was going said I was embarrassing him, so I decided to embarrass myself properly." The words tumble out before she can stop them. The alcohol has stripped away her filters, her defences, her ability to pretend she's okay. The stranger is quiet for a moment. "Your boyfriend sounds like a fool." "Ex-boyfriend?" The correction feels important. "Final." "As of 30 minutes ago." "Good." He pulls out his phone, makes a call, speaks rapid Korean that she can't follow, his voice shifting to something harder, more commanding. She should be scared. She's alone with a strange man owing an empty path by the river, drunk and bleeding and vulnerable. But she's too tired to be scared, too empty, too done. When he ends the call, he looks at her with those unreadable dark eyes. "I've called for a car. It will be here in 3 minutes." "I don't need a car. You can barely stand." "I'll manage. Where will you go?" The question hangs in the air between them. The same question she's been avoiding since she walked out of that ballroom. Where will she go? Back to Taesung's apartment, where her clothes hang in his closet and her toothbrush sits in his bathroom and every surface is soaked in memories our erasure. Back to the life she built around a man who never planned to acknowledge she existed. She has no answer. The stranger W atches her silent C, reads it accurately. "That's what I thought." A black car appears at the end of the path. Silent, sleek. The kind of vehicle that costs more than most people make in a year. The stranger opens the back door. "Get in." "I don't know you. You don't know anyone in this city who's willing to help you tonight. I'm offering." He pauses. No strings, no expectations, just a safe place to sleep and a meal in the morning. "That's insane. You could be anyone." "I could be." He doesn't any it. "But I'm not going to leave a bleeding woman alone by the river at midnight, so either you get in the car or I stand here with you until you change your mind." Kamari stares at him, at this stranger who appeared from nowhere and speaks to her like she matters, like our choices matter, like she's a person instead of a convenience. Taesung never looked at her this way, not once in 4 years. The alcohol makes the decisio en for her. That and the exhaustion. That and the cold seeping through her ruined gown. That and the simple truth that she has nowhere else to go. She gets in the car. The leather seats are warm. Heat ed. The interior smells like cedar and something expensive she can't identify. The stranger slithers in beside her. The door closes with a solid thunk. "Where are we going?" she asks. "Somewhere safe." That's not an answer. "It's the only one I have right now." He looks at her and something in his expression shifts, softens almost. "Rest. We'll talk in the morning." Her eyes are already closing, the warmth and the motion and the alcohol pulling her down into darkness. The last thing she sees before she loses consciousness is his face watching her, passionate guarded, like he's seen broken women before, like he's deciding whether to fix her or let her fall apart. Sunlight stabs through her eyelids. Kamari bolts upright and Dee immediately regrets every decision on that led to this moment. Her skull screams in protest. Her stomach lurches violently. Her mouth tastes like something crawled inside and died. She is not in Taesung's apartment. The bed beneath her is massive. King-size D at minimum. Crisp white sheets that feel like they cost more than her entire wardrobe. A headboard D made of dark wood with subtle grain patterns that scream old money. The room is bigger than her childhood bedroom in Oakle, and floor-to-ceiling windows reveal a private garden outside, all pruned trees and stone pathways, and a koi pond G littering in the morning light. Where is she? The memories surface slowly, the award ceremony, the fountain, the convenience store, the river, the stranger. She's still wearing the burgundy gown, wrinkled, stained, torn along the side seam, HFA bare and dirt eye. Her palms sting, and when she looks down she sees someone has leaned and bandaged the scrapes. Someone undressed her wounds while she was unconscious. The thought should tear if ye her. Instead, she feels oddly calm. If whoever brought her here wanted to hurt her, they would have done it already. She swings her legs over the side of the bed. Her feet hit heated marble. Of course, heated floors, because this place is exactly that kind of excessive. The smell hits her as she stands. Savoury, rich, something cooking nearby. Her stomach growls loudly enough to echo. She follows the scent down a hallway lined with art that looks museum quality. Not prints, originals. Each piece probably worth more than her student loans. The hallway opens into a kitchen that belongs in a magazine. Sleek counters. Professional G-Raid appliance S. Morning light flooding through windows that frame the garden like a living painting. And standing at the stove, stirring something in a pot, is the stranger from last night. He's wearing different clothes now. Black t-shirt that stretches across broady shoulders, grey sweatpants that somehow look expensive-y. His dark hair is slightly damp, like he showered recently. When he turns, she sees his face clearly for the first time, without alcohol blurring her vision. He's striking. Not pretty like Taesung, something harder. A face that looks like it's been live in, weathered by experiences he doesn't talk about. Late 40s, she guesses. Maybe early 50s, strong jaw, eyes that see too much. You're awake? His voice eyes calm, unhurried. Like he finds unconscious women by rivers every night. Sit, the soup will help. Who are you? Eat first, questions after. No. Her voice komizuti stronger than she expected. Who are you? Where am I? What happened last night? He sets down the ladle, turns to face her fully. His expression gives nothing away. Yo-Yu collapsed on the riverside path. You were drunken, bleeding and alone. I brought you somewhere safe. He gestures to a stool at the marble counter. Sit, eat, then we can discuss whatever you want to. Every survival instinct she possesses screams at her to run. But run where? Run to what? Her stomach growls again. It's. He ladles soup into a ceramic bowl and sets it in front of her. Steam rises in curling wisps. She can see rice, vegetables, egg, beef. It smells like everything good in the world. She takes a bite. Her eyes close involuntarily. The broth is perfect, warm and salty and exactly what her destroyed body needs. She takes another bite. Another. The soup appears faster than dignity should all owe. When she looks up, He's watching her with an expression she can't read. Curious, guarded, something deeper beneath the surface. Thank you, you. The words feel inadequate. For the soup, for everything. But I should go now. Where? The question again. The same one that has no answer. Where would she go? Back to the apartment she shared with a man who erased her? Her name isn't O.N. the lease. Her money is in his accounts. Her passport is in his safe. She has nothing. She is nothing. I don't know, she admits. The words taste like surrender. He leans against the counter, arms crossed, assessing. Then stay. Excuse me. Stay here until you figure out what comes next. He says it simply, like he's offering directions to the subway. There's a guest wing. You'd have privacy, space to think. I don't even know your name. Why would you help me? What do you want? Something flickers in Hia's eyes. Pain, maybe, old and buried deep. I know what it looks like when someone has lost everything. I've been there. He pauses, choosing his next word's careful lie. Sometimes a stranger's kindness is the only thing that keeps us from drowning. Kamari stares at him. This man who pulled her from the darkness, brought her to his fortress, cooked her hangover soup, and is now offering refuge without asking for anything in return. Men don't do this, not in her experience. Men take, men use. Men thank other women in acceptance speeches, while you sit in borrowed dresses wondering why you're never enough. Who are you? She whispers. He holds her GAs for a long moment. The kitchen falls silent, exquipe faux she the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of birds in the garden. Someone who understands, he says finally. That is enough for now. She looks around the kitchen, really looks this time. Security and mirrors in every corner. Subtle, but there. An intercom panel by the door with more buttons than any normal house would need. The windows are thick. Reinforced, maybe. This isn't a house. The each is a fortress S. I'm Kamari, she says, surprising herself. Kamari Kendrick. He nods slowly, like he's filing the information away somewhere important. Gyupyo, Jungyupyo. The name means nothing to her, just Korea and syllables arranged in an unfamiliar pattern. She doesn't know that in certain circles that name means everything, that it opens doors and closes casquettes, that powerful men kneel when they hear it, that the quiet kitchen she sits in is the heart of an empire built in shadows. She only knows that for the first time in 4 years, someone is looking at her without calculation in their eyes, without measuring what she can produce, without tallying what she's worth. Juice ain't looking at her like she's a person who deserves a bowl of soup in a safe place to think. And somehow, that terrifies her more than anything else, because she stopped expecting kindness a long time ago, and she has no idea what to do when it appears. Have you ever had someone show up for you when you least expected it? That moment when a stranger became the only person who saw you clearly? Comment below and tell me about that person. And stay tuned, because Kamari's about to discover that her mysterious saviour is hiding something far bigger than a warm kitchen and good intentions. My family has controlled D-Soul's under W Ald for 3 generations. The war-Ds hang in the air between them. Kamari's coffee up freezes halfway to her lips. Gyupyo stands by the window, morning light utting sharp line sesacro ss his faki. He hasn't moved since he started speaking. His voice is steady, factual. Lakey's radinung stock PR ISIS instead of confessing to running a criminal empire. My grandfather built the foundation during the war. My fath ER expanded it into construction, entertainment, real estate. He turns to face her. When he died 15 years ago, leadership passed to me. Kamari sets to win the cup. Here a hand trembles slightly. You're telling me you're a crime boss? I'm telling you why I am, why I am. His eyes hold hers without flinching. The media calls me untouchable. The police call me a problem they can't solve. The men who work for me call me Chairman Jun. She should run. Every instinct screams it. This man pulled Archer from the river, fed her soup, gave her a bed in his fortress. And now he's telling her he runs the Korea and Mafia. But she doesn't run, because she's thinking about Taesung, his Polish-ed image, his charm, his ability to smile at cameras while stealing her words. He was supposed to be safe, legitimate, good, and he destroyed her anyway. Why are you telling me this? Her voice comes out steadier than she feels. Because I'm about to offer you something, and you deserve to know exactly who's making the offer. Gi Upyo moves to the table, sits across from her, and lays out her situation with cold precision. S. Umin-cha's father is not just a film producer. His name is Cha Myung-hoon, and he launders M1E for a rival syndicate called the Dihan Group. They've been trying to undermine Upyo's operations for years. Taesung is connected to them through Soo-min. The relation's hip was never about love, it was strategy. The false embezzlement charges against you aren't personal revenge, Upyo explains. They're tactical. If you're discredited and deported, you can never expose the payment records that prove Taesung stole your work. Your ex-boyfriend is their clean face. Did he air cultural credibility? Kamari's stomach turns. So I'm just collateral damage in some crime war? You were always collate Ral. His VOI softens, but barely. From the moment Taesung found you? The words land like a punch to the chest. What does that mean? Cha Myung-hoon doesn't just produce films, he acquires talent, finds desperate gifted people, offers them opportunities they can't refuse. Then TR apps them in relationship pairs and dependencies that ensure they can never leave or claim credit. Upyo pauses. You weren't random, Kamari. You were scouted. The room tilts. Shah-e grabs the edge of the table. 4 years ago, Myung-hoon needed a new writer, someone brilliant but invisible. Somion foreign, isolated, desperate enough to accept promises instead of contracts. His eyes hold hers. He sent Taesung to Los Angeles to find exactly that. She thinks about the IR meeting. How Taesung Ape ard at exactly the right moment, when she was exhausted from rejection, hungry for opportunity. How he said all the right things. How seamlessly he isolated her from everyone who might have seen through him. It was never love. It was a system, and she walked right into it. You're not the first, Upyo continues. There have been others, writers, composers, artists. Most give up and go home. Some disappear entirely. Disappear how? He doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. Kamari's hands shake against the table, rage and fear and something else building in her chest. Something that feels like power. Why do you care? She demands. What does any of this have to do with you? Upyo is quiet for a long moment. The awning light tea shifts across his face, revealing lines she hadn't noticed before, old pain carved into weathered features. Because Cha Myung-hoon destroyed someone I loved using Tisane Play Bouquet years ago? His jaw tightens. And I've been waiting a very long time for the right we upon to destroy him back. He looks at her with something burning beneath his careful composure. I think you might be that weapon. If you've ever discovered that someone you trusted was using you all along, you know exactly what Kamari's feeling right now. That moment when the whole picture finally comes into focus and you realise you were never a partner. You were a pawn. Comment below and tell me, have you ever been parlayed like this? and make Suri you're subscribed because Kamari's about to make a choice that changes everything. Chapter 6. I want credit. The words come out fierce, forged in 4 years of silence. Kamari stands in Gupio's living room, still wearing borrowed clothes, still sorting through the wreckage of her old life. But something has shifted in her spine, something that refuses to end. Gupio raises an eyebrow. You're negotiating? I'm not doing 'tis just to survive. She paces the length of the immaculate space, bare feet silent on marble. Taesung stole 4 years of my work, my words, my talent. Clearing my name doesn't give that back. What do you want? Public credit. I want the W all to know I wrote those scripts. I want Taesung exposed as a fraud. I want my name on the work I created. That's a bigger as K. Gupio leans back in H's chair, studying her. It would require evidence beyond payment records. Then help me get it. She stops pacing, faces him directly. I know his systems. I know where he keeps drafts, Revis Ion High stories, email correspondence. Everything is documented. He's obsessive about it. Help me cess it, and I'll give you everything you need on Chum Myung-hoon. A long moment passes. Something shifts in his expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. You negotiate like someone who's been underestimated her whole life. I have been. She doesn't flinch. That ends now. He stands slowly, extends his hand across the space between them. We have a deal. She shakes it. His grip is firm, warm, certain. It lingers a fraction longer than business requires. There's one more thing, he says, not relay-acing her hand. To make this work, you'll need to attend events with me, publicly, as my companion. Her pulse Saint utters. You're what? Seoul's elite need to see you're under my protect ion. Hiding makes you look guilty. You need to be visible, untouchable. His thumb brushes across her knuckles before he lets go. The woman on Jun Gupio's arm is not someone anyone crosses. You want ME to pretend to be your girlfriend? I want you to be SEM with me. What people assume is their business. He pulls out H's phone, scrolls to an invitation. The first event is in 5 days. A charity gala at the Schiller Hotel. Ever Yai major player INSul will be there. Kamari's throat tightens. Including Taesung? Gupio's smile is thin, dangerous. Including Taesung and Sumin, A and her father. 5 days ago, she was invisible, erased, drunk by a river with nowhere to go. Now she's about to walk into the Leon's den on the Oriam of the Lion King. What happens if this doesn't work? She asks. If they find out what we're doing, G? His expression doesn't changi. Then we both have enemies who want us destroyed, and we'll face them together. He says it like a pro-mise, or a prop hetzy. Kamari isn't Suri, which scares her more. But she knows one thing for certain. She's done being invisible. She's done letting other peo pleuroite her story. For the first time in 4 years, she's going to take back what was stolen. And if that means dancing with Dunga, then she'll learn Ivrai Step. Have you ever had to make an impossible choice? Risk everything for a chance at justice, or Sine safe and let the person who wronged you win? Kamari just chose war. Comment below and tell me what you would do. Would you take the deal? And make sure you hit that subscribe button because Kamari's transformation is about to begin and you don't want to miss what happens when she finally faces the man who erased her. Chich, Chapter 7. The emerald gown costs more than Kamari made in a year of ghostwriting. She knows this because the stylist mentioned it. Casually, like $20,000 was pocket change. The fabric hurgies her frame like it was designed specifically for her body. deep green that catches light and throws it back in waves, a neckline that suggests without revealing, a slit up the left leg that will make walking feel like it a weapon. Chairman John selected this himself, the stylist says, adjusting the hem. Kamari stares at her reflection in this three-way mirror. She barely recognises herself. 5 days of transformation have remade her. New high R, swept up in an elegant twist that exposes the long line of her neck. Makeup that enhances without overwhelming. A crash course in Korean high society etiquette from a woman who spoke in clipped sentences and corrected her posture 17 timis in one afternoon. She's learned which bow for which status, which phrases command respect, how to hold a champagne glass, enter a room, dismiss an insult with a smile that cuts deeper than words. She's not being dressed. She's being armed. "Why emerald?" she asked Yupio yesterday when the fabric essiampeli first arrived. He looked at her with the O's unreadable eyes, because it matches your fire. Now, standing in the mirror, she understands the colour transforms her, makes her look like money, power, consequence, makes her look like someone who belongs on the arm of Seoul's most dangerous man. The door opens behind her. Gyupyo enters, and the air in the room shifts. He's wearing a black tuxedo that fits like a second skin. No tie. Top B undone. The casualness of a man who doesn't need formality to command attention. He stops when he sees her. For a moment his careful composure racks. Just a fraction, just enough for her to see something human beneath the armour. "You look." He pauses, searching for words, like a woman who's about to burn something down. Is that a compliment? It's an observation. He moves closer, and she catches his scent. Cedar, bergamot, something expensive and clean. "Are you ready?" "No." "Good. Fear keeps you sharp." He offers his arm. "Let's go rem in Seoul who you are." The car ride is silent. Kamari watches the city lights blur past the tinted windows, her hearty pounding a rhythm she can't control. Tonight she faces Tae-sung, the man who stole her words, her credit, her identity, the man who thanked another woman while she sat in a borrowed dress waiting to be seen. Tonight she shows him exactly what he threw away. The Schiller Hotel rises ahead, blazing with light. Paparazzi line the entrance. Black cars discharge Korea's elite in waves of silk and diamond Ds. Gyupyo's hand finds hers. "Remember," he says quietly, "you belong here. You always did. T-Hay just didn't know it yet." The door opens. Camera flashes explode. Kamari steps out into the light GT, emerald gown catching every flash like captured fire, and walks into war. Tonight, everything changes, and she's ready. If you've ever had to face someone who underestimated you, who dismissed you, who thought they could erase you without consequence, you know exactly what Kamari's feeling right now. That mixture of terror and power, that moment before the storm breaks. Comment below and tell me about a time you had to show someone exactly who you are. And stay subscribed, because Kamari's confrontation with Tae-sung is about to happen, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single second of what comes next. Chapter 8. Tae-sung sees Hyar first. Kamari descends the grand staircase with Gyupyo at her side, and she watches her ex-boyfriend's face cycle the rough emotions too fast to track. Confusion, recognition, disbelief, terror. The champagne glass freezes halfway to his lips. The ballroom is everything wealth and power can buy. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across 5H and red of Korea's most influential people. Cameras flash, champagne flows, and conversations pause mid-sentence as heads turn toward the sty arcase. Ju and Gyu Pyo rarely attends public events. Jungyu Pyo never brings a woman on his arm. The whispers start immediately, rippling through the crowd like wind through tall grass. Kamari feels every eye on her emerald go one, on the diamonds at her ears, on the way she holds Gyupyo's Rema like she belongs there, because she does belong there. She always did. They just didn't know it yet. Sumin stands beside Taesung near the E-bar, draped and wet like a bride, her smile frozen in place. When she sees Kamari, her expression twists. Confusion becomes recognition, becomes fury. Kamari smiles. She walks directly toward them, Gyupyo M atching her stride, his presence beside her like a weapon unsheathed. The crowd parts instinctive ely. A sea of designer gowns and tailored suits creating a piath for the most dang eros man in the room, and the woman who came to call Ekta Det. Tas Ung! Her voice is calm, pleasant, devastating. It's been a while, he stammers. His carefully constructed charm crumbles in real time. Kamari, what are you doing here? How did you? I've been well, thank you for asking. She turns to Sumin, whose white gown suddenly looks like surrender. And you must be the creative consultant. I've heard so much about your insight. Sumin's eyes narrow to slits. I don't know what you think you're doing here, but you need to leave. There's a warrant for ERR Saint. There he was a warrant. Gyupyo's voice cuts through like a belade wrapped in CLK. Am is understanding, cleared up this morning. He smiles, and there's nothing warm in it. Funny how these things work themselves out. Taesung's facey drains of colour. He knows that smile. Everyone in Seoul knows that smile. It's the smile that precedes ruin. You're with him? Taesung's voice cracks like a teenage boy's. You're with Jungyu Pyo? Does that surprise you? Kamari tilties her head, studying him like a specimen under glass. You threw me away, Taesung. Did you expect me to just disappear? I didn't mean it wasn't supposed to. You thanked her. The words come out quiet, controlled, more terrifying than any scream. 4 years. Every script, every word, every sleepless night I spent pouring my soul onto pages that made critics call you a genius. She steps closer, and he flinkies. And you stood on that stage and thanked her. The people nearby have stopped pretending not to listen in. This is the kind of scene that becomes legend, the kind that will be whispered about at dinner parties for years. I was going to... Taesung reaches for her arm, desperate now. Kamari, listen to me, I can explain. His fingers close around her wrist. Gyupyo moves so fast Kamari barely tracks it. One moment, Taesung is grabbing her. The NX'd, Gyupyo's H, and is clamped over his, bending his fingers back at an angle that makes the younger man gasp in pain. Touch her again. Gyupyo's voice is soft, almost gentle. Absolutely terrifying. And I'll destroy everything your new family built, starting with the production company, ending with the man who runs it. Taesung whimpers. Actual lie whimpers, in front of 500 of Korea's most powerful people. Gyupyo releases him. Taesung stumbles backward, cradling his hand, face twisted in pain and public humiliation. Sumin steps forward, fury overriding common sense. Do you have any idea who my father is? Cha Myung-hoon. Gyupyo doesn't bother ooking at her. Money launderer, talent thief. Currently Y under investigation by 3 different government agencies, though he doesn't know that yet. Now he looks, and his eyes hold nothing but contempt. Would you like me to continue? The colour D rains from her facey. Kamari watches her crumble, watches Taesung Kar humble, watches 4 years of stolen credit and invisible labour and borrowed dresses come crashing down around the people who thought they could de-erase Hacher without consequence. It feels like a justice. It feels like power. It feels like finally being seen. But then Sumin's expression shifts. The shock transforms into something uglier, something calculatinung. She pulls out her phone. You think you've won? Her voice drops low, venomous. My father knows exactly who Jungyupyo is. He's known for years and he's already made calls. Tonight. Sirens wail in the distance. Ji rowing closer. Gyupyo's expression doesn't see Hang, but his hand finds Eskamari's, gripping tight enough to aid tea. Time to go, he says. Have you ever had a moment of triumph turn dangerous in a heartbeat? That second when you realise winning comes with a price? Kamari just exposed to Sun Ji in front of everyone who matters, but now the consequences are coming. Comment below and tell me, was it worth the risk? And make sure you're subscribed because what happens next will change everything and you do not want to miss a single moment of the chaos that's about to unfold. Chapter 9. The service corridor stretches endless ahead. Gyupyo pulls Kamari through a side door as the gala dissolves into chaos behind them. Guests scattering, security shouting, the distant wail of Sir N's growing louder with every passing second. What calls? Kamari demand D's, HR heels clicking against concrete AS. They move through a kitchen where startled staff flatten against walls. What did Su Min mean? Her father has allies in the police, not everyone. Gyupyo pushes open a heavy door at the end of the corridor. I've spent years building relationships with the right people, but Myung-hoon has enough connections to cause problems. Cold Nig-HT air hits their faces. They're on a loading dock behind TE Hotel. A black car waits, engine running, exhaust plume G white in the dark near SS. Then why did we come tonight? Because hiding wasn't an option. HE opens the car door, gestures her inside. And Becca Hughes now, everyone knows you're under my protection. She slides into the leather seat, emerald gown tangling around her leg S. He follow S and the door slams shut with a sound like a vault closing. Where are we going? Kamari asks. So me we're safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. The car pulls forward, 10 feet, 20. Then it stops. Kamari looks through the windshield and her blood turns to ice. A figure stands in the loading dock entrance, blocking their exit, silver hair gleaming under the security lights, tailored suit that probably costs more than most people's cars, hands clasped behind his back like he has all the time in the world. Gyupyo goes C, completely still. Estee in the car, he says quietly. Who is that? He doesn't answer, just opens his DE oar and steps out into the cold night air. Kamari watches through the window as the two men face each other. The Stra Nung air moves closer, and she hears his voice through the glass. Sum ut H, controle D, venomous. Nephew, it's been a long time, nephew. She pushes open her own door before she can think better of it. The heels of her shoes hit concrete. The cold wraps around her bare shoulders. Get back in the car, Kamari. She doesn't move. Who is he? The silver-haired man tilts his head, studying her W with open interest. His eyes are the same dark shade as Gyupyo's, but colder, emptier. No introductions? He makes a tisking sound. I'm hurt, nephew, truly hurt. This doesn't concern her. On the contrary. The Ma-En steps closer, and Kamari resists the urge to step back. Everything about HER concerns me now. Hititi earns his attention fully to Kamari, examining her like she's a painting he's considering Perk-hasi-nung. I'm Jun Myong-soo, Gyupyo's uncle. He smiles, and it doesn't reach his eyes. The man who raised him after his father died. The man who built everything he inherited. Another step. The man he spent 10 years trying to destroy. Get in the car. Gyupyo's voice is ice. Now. Don't be rude. Myung-soo waved as a dismissive hand. I simply wanted to meet the woman who's murdered my nephew, break every rule he ever created. He circles Kamari slowly, and she forces herself to stand still, to meet his gaze without flinching. No entanglements, he always said, no weak nieces, no one close enough to be used against him. Myung-soo stops in front of her, CLOs enough that she can smell his cologne. Expensive. Suffocating. And yet here you are, the American ghost Ritter who crashed into him on the riverside. Hiel orbs softly. Fate has such a cruel sense of humour. This conversation is over. Gyupyo moves between them, positioning his body like a shield. The Cha family came to me tonight. Myung-soo's voice hardens, all pretense of warmth evaporating. They're quite upset about your little performance in the RRR. They want reassurances, compensation for embarrassment. And you're here to deliver their Dema NDs. I'm here to offer you advice. Myung-soo spreads his hands, the gesture almost paternal. Walk away from the girl. Return her to whatever obscurity you found her in. Let the Chaz have their pound OF fleas H. He pauses. And perhaps we can avoid the unpleased sadness that's coming. No. The word is flat. Final. Absolute. Myung-soo's eyebrows rise. No? She is under my protection. That doesn't change. Gyupyo's voice drops to something dangerous. Not for the Chaz, not for you, not for anyone. The two men stare at each other. Uncle and nephew, two predators measuring strength. You've made yourself vulnerable. Myung-soo's voice is soft now, almost sad. For the first time in a decade you have something to lose. His eyes find Kamari again, sea old, calculating, hungry. And I intend to use that. He steps backward, melting into the shadow there beyond the loading dock lights. His footsteps echo once, twice, then silence. Gone. Gyupyo-do hasn't moved for a long moment. His shoulders are rigid. His jaw clenched to keen enough to shatter teeth. When he finally turns, Kamari sees something she hasn't seen before. Fear, not for himself, for her. Get in the car, he says quiet to lie. Please. This time, she does. If you've ever watched someone you care about face a threat they didn't expect, you know exactly which Kamari's feeling right now. That helpless terror, that realization that the danger just got personal. Gyupyo has been protecting her since the river. Now she's the weapon his enemies will use against him. Comment below and tell me, what would you do? Run and save yourself? Or stay in a fight beside someone who fought for you? Make sure you're subscribed and that notification bell is on, because the final chapter is coming, and everything Kamari and Gyupyo have built is about to be tested in ways neither of them imagined. Chapter 10. The car speeds through Seoul's empty St. Reitz. Kamari stares out the window, watching neon signs blur into streak S of colour. Her heart hasn't stopped racing since the loading dock, since she saw Gyupyo's face when his uncle emerged from the shadows. Fear, actual fear, from a man who commands an empire. Who is he? She asked finally. Really? Gyupyo's hands grip the steering wheel. His knuckles are white. The man who made me. And the man I have to destroy before he destroys everything I've built, including me. He turns to look at her. In the shifting G-low of passing streetlights, his face is stripped of its usual armo-r. Exhausted, fierce, and something else you underneath, something vulnerable. Especially you. The words settle between them, heavy with meaning neither is easy to examine. M.Y. Uncle C. controlled the family seas for 20 years after my father died. Gyupyo continues, eyes returning Tio the road. I was 15. He was supposed to guide me, prepare me for leadership. His jaw W tightens. Instead, he tried to destroy me, slowly, systematically, making me dependent on him while stripping away everyone I cared about. Kamari thinks about Cha Myung-hoon, about Tai Sung. About T systems designed to isolate and exploit. How did you survive? By becoming harder than Jaime Sokolda, by cutting away everything soft until there was nothing left to use against me. He pauses at a red light and the sill ends stretch S. I built walls so high I forgot what it felt like to be human. And then I crashed into you on the riverside. And then you crashed into Emmy on the riverside. The light turns green. They drive in silence for another minute before Kamari speaks again. Why did you really help me that night, the Trute H? Gyupyo is quiet for so long, she thinks he won't answer. Because when I saw you lying there, he says slowly, broken and alone and fighting just to breathe, I saw myself 10 years ago. Before I became this. His hand leaves the wheel and covers hers on the seat between them. And I wasn't going to let the world break someone else the way it broke me. His thumb traces across her knuckles, gentle, human, nothing like the cold-eyed pre-data who threatened Tae-sung in the ballroom. Myung, Sue is right about one thing, he continues. You're my weakness now. He'll use that. He'll come at me through you. Then maybe I should disappear, go back to America, Sintot be ein a target. Gyupyo's hand tightens on hers. Is that what you want? Kamari thinks about Oakland D, about Auntie Francine's small house and her notebooks full of unshared poetry, about Hollywood rejection letters and ghostwriting gigs that paid rent but not respect. She thinks about Tai, Sung's face in the ballroom, the Tero R when he saw her on Gyupyo's arm, T, he whimper when his fingers bent backward. She thinks about the money trail sitting in encrypted files, the proof that could expose everything, the credit she's owed for 4 years of stolen words. No, she says finally, I don't want to disappear. I've been invisible my whole life. She meets his eyes. I want to be seen, even if it's dangerous, even if it's terrifying. Something shifts in Gyupyo's expression, relief, admiration, and something deeper, something neither of them is ready to name. Then we fig ha, he says, together. The car pulls through gates Kamari didn't notice before. The fortress materializes around them, safe. Solid, a haven in a city full of enemies. When they stop, neither moves immediately. What happens now, Kamari asks. Now we finish what we started. Gyupyo turns to face her Fueli. We expose Taesung. We destroy Myung-hoon's pipeline. We take down the system that targeted you and everyone like you. And your Wunkile? His jaw sets. Myung-soo has been building towards something for years. Tonight confirmed it. He's making a move for control. The Cha family was just the beginning. A war. A war I've been expecting for a decade. He pauses. I just didn't expect to have someone worth fighting, Basidi. Kamari looks at this Mayan. This stranger who became her protector. This crime lord who cooks hangover soup and selects emerald gowns and holds her hand like she's precious. She should be terrified of what comes next. The enemies multiplying, the danger escalating, the uncertainty of everything ahead debati. She's not terrified. She's ready. I'm not going anywhere, she says. Gyupyo's hand finds her face, his palm war M against her cheek, his thumb tracing the line of her J-O. Good, he whispers, because I'm not letting you go. The moment stretches between them, charged, electric, full of possibility neither has allowed themselves to consider. Then his phone buzzes. The spell breaks. He glances at the screen and his expression hardens. What is it? My people inside the police department. He reads quickly, then looks at her with something urgent in his eyes. The warrant against you. It wasn't just Tai-sung. The original complaint was filed by someone else. Someone who's been watching you since before you came to Korea. Kamari's blood runs cold. Who? Gyupyo turns He phone toward her. A photograph fills the screen. A face she hasn't seen in 4 years. A face she never expected to see again. Her father. Kamari stares at the image. The man who disappeared from her life when she was 12. The man her mother left behind. The man Aunt Francine refused to speak about. That's impossible, she whispers. He's supposed to be dead. He's very much alive. Gyupyo's voice is grim. And according to this, he's been working with Cham Young-hoon for over a decade. The car is silent except F or Kamari's ragged breathing. Her fa there, W orking with the Emin who targeted H who sent Tai-sung to find her, who built Tahitra she walked into 4 years ago. Everything she thought she knew about her past is a lie. And the man who abandoned her is somehow DBU connected to the nightmare she's living now. Kamari, Gyupyo's voice pulls her back. Whatever this means, whatever he's done, we'll figure it out together. She looks at him, at the man who saved her from Tihi River, who gave her refuge, who stood between her and every threat. She looks at the phone, at the father she mourned, at the secreties that keep multiplying G. She looks at the fortress around them. At Tihi Wargarth earring on the horizon, at the L if she never planned and the woman she's becoming. This isn't over, she says quietly. No. Gyupyo's hand C overs hers. It's just beginning. The Seoul skyline glitters through the windshield. Beautiful, dangerous, full of enemies and secrets and the promise of everything still to come. Kamari Kendrick came to Korea to be a writer. She became a ghost, then a weapon. Now she's something else entirely. A woman who refuses to be erased. A woman and with powerful enemies and a dangerous ally. A woman whose past is catching up to her future. Her story isn't over. It's just getting started. And if you want to see what happens when Kamari discovers the truth about her father, when she finally exposes Tai-sung's theft to the world, when she faces down the enemies gathering against her and the man Wicho fights by H's side, you know exactly what to do. Subscribe to this channel right now and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when part 2 drops. Share this video with someone who needs to hear our Kamari's story. Someone who's ever felt invisible. Someone who's ever been used. Someone who's ever dreamed of rising from the ashes of Juracha other people tried to make them. See Omit Belao and tell me, what do you think happened to Kamari's father? Why is he connected to the people who hurt her? And what would you do if you discovered your own family was partio of your downfall? I read every single comment. And your T-Hearies might just shape where this story goes next. This is a sea immunity of survivors, of fighters, of people who refuse to let TEHA world erase them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Kamari's journey. Part 2 IS coming. And trust me, you're going to want to SSE what happens when a woman who was supposed to disappear decides to burn everything down instead.